Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Sara Wiseman, and today we're working on one of my favorite ideas, which is answering the call. You know, as we get to this part of the world's history, especially this sort of marker in the US history, we're really asked to sort of look at, well, what's my part in this? What's my responsibility and what's my contribution? These are things that I think about. What's the best use of my particular gifts? And really taking that deep moment of looking at that for yourself. Like, we're not just here randomly. We're not just here to spend our lives scrolling on our phone and complaining about the world. We're here to bring the unique gifts of our particular self. Each of us has these different types of gifts. We're here to bring that and contribute to the whole. And I'm not one, I've studied so much over the years, right? And I've studied a lot of different systems. And I'm not so much for taking a lot of, say, personality tests, like I'm an INFJ. That's what I'm supposedly. Okay, that's useful, but my uniqueness or your uniqueness, whatever you are in that system, goes further than that. Or in a different system, I'm, this or I'm that. And I think it's nice to have some awareness of classifying the self with different systems. But when it gets down to it, I don't think it's important. I think we are more unique than that. I don't think we can be solved by being slotted into, 8 or 5 or 11 or whatever, you're this. That seems to be more separation to me. It seems to not allow for the flexibility of ourselves as people as we grow. When I was little, sometimes I just wonder what I'm gonna just like reveal when I'm like, okay, but when I was little, I really, 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 I don't know what age this was, probably pretty young, but I was really into macrame. And I was really into macrameing those little like key rings. Man, I made like 50 of those. And then I attempted to go onto plant hangers and other items, but apparently I did not have the macrame skills to make it that far on my path, on my macrame path. So this is just an idea of like, if I had been slotted like, you're macrame 7, that's your path, I would have been really stuck, because obviously I'm not a macrame expert now. Another thing I did pretty badly when I was young is I took a lot of piano lessons. Piano lessons, piano lessons, piano lessons. And I took piano lessons because my dad was one of those people that could just sit down and play. He didn't need to have music or anything. And I think there was this hope that that would be me too. Well, it's not. In fact, that some of my kids have that ability, but I didn't get it. And so this attempt to slot me into, you're going to be this magnificent piano player. No. Oh my gosh, no, I was pretty bad. And I'm very lucky I didn't get slotted as, this is what you're going to do. This is who you're going to be. And I believe that when we look at, what we were doing without being forced to or without being directed to, when we were little is often, not always, but is often a clue as to what our calling is now. What I was doing when I was little is reading religious books in my room, which is so weird, but that was my preference. So it makes sense that this is my interest area now, right? You were probably doing whatever particular thing you especially enjoyed. And most likely, if that's a true thing for you, if that's like one of the things you came here to do, it's likely that that's going to be something that still works for you. Now, different people have had different experiences of growing up, and so we might not have always had the opportunity to know what our calling was early. Maybe it comes later. But at some point, you're going to start to understand, like, this is the thing that I love, or this is the thing that I'm just naturally really good at, or this is the thing that I can do that helps other people, or that I can do with more ease than, say, the average person. And it could be anything. It could be like a lot of people can cook really well. A lot of people can make things with their hands. A lot of people can figure out problems, like speak languages. There's lots of ways. So let me just read this. Again, it's the Gabriel messages. And okay, here we go. Answering the call. In all lifetimes, there is a calling, a siren song, a beacon, a guiding light that will continually direct you on your path. There are different ways to find your calling. It's not about vocation, but it can be vocation. It's not about aptitude, but it can be aptitude. It's not about practice, but it can be practice. It is about a way of orienting yourself in your mind, ego, personality toward the field of service. Toward the field of service. The field of service does not mean you do volunteer work, or you are on a charity board, or you give all your money away, or you work tirelessly for friends, or you support your family, or you contribute creative works to the world, or it may be all of these. The bigger idea of the calling to service is that you bring your mind, ego, personality to the idea of contribution to the whole. You bring your mind, ego, personality to the idea of contribution to the whole. Back a long time ago, I used to work. I didn't do this work yet. It hadn't happened for me. It hadn't started. And I used to work in a lot of kind of businessy things, and there was a lot of focus about like what charitable organizations you might be on the board of, or you might go to meetings for. How are you contributing to this charitable organization or that? And I found it incredibly exhausting personally, because now, on the one hand, I think people can do a ton of good work that way. On the other hand, what I saw from my perspective was that a lot of people were getting into those positions to enhance their projection, right? To enhance the view that others had of them being wealthy or good, or just wanting to rub shoulders with other people who were so privileged that they could be in these elevated positions of, oh, we help others or we raise money for this. So it's a mixed bag. Some people are very pure in their, like, I can raise a bunch of money and that will be very useful to these particular groups that really need assistance. That's wonderful. And other people were like, I'm going to get on that because that means I'll get to be around a bunch of other rich people, which I don't think is that great. So this idea of it's not about doing charity work, but it could be. It's not about volunteering, but it could be. It may be just about showing up to where you find yourself right now and looking around and seeing what part of the gap you could fill, or like what piece of the puzzle you could offer that would help the puzzle get completed. And all of us has something that we can do. You know, if you're young and you don't really know what your gifts are yet, I mean, probably everyone will say, could you please do the social media? That's, you know, but say they don't ask you that and you're just a young person, you're like, I'd like to help. I don't know what. I mean, just the fact that you're young and most likely have more physical ability, more current understanding of technology, more physical strength potentially, more energy. Just the fact that you're of a different energy, generation and see things differently can be all that you need to bring. So there's that. And if you're older and you're like, I can't do, I can't do the physical stuff, I can't, help dig the ditch or build the building or whatever, but you have different ways. You understand how to work with people, you understand how to calm an emotional situation down, you have wisdom and experience of how things used to be. And so everybody's sort of contributing. Again, you're adding your piece of the puzzle so that the puzzle can be completed. Let me read another little part of this. Your unique contribution. You will find ways that you may contribute that most naturally align with your personality, your human body, your situation. If you are a teacher, your service is when you are teaching. If you are a musician, your service is when you are playing music. If you are a politician, your service is when you are leading. It is this simple. Your participation is enough. This is not the worldview, is it? These are not society's rules. Everyone wants bigger and brighter, money, fame, following. But true service is measured by your commitment to showing up and sharing. It kind of reminds me back in the 33 Lessons, which some of you are familiar with. That's the first book that I channeled. One of the lessons is you are what you do. And it's like, if you're a teacher, teach. If you're a cook, cook. If you take care of kids, do that. And it's like your contribution is what you actively show up and work from. Okay, I'm gonna do something, I don't know, this is always a little, I never know what will happen. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of card pulling for us today. And I think what I want to do is help you consider where your particular contribution is most needed, and maybe address some of the feelings. So I'm just shuffling the cards. Maybe address some of the feelings you have about your own calling. I think when people are young, they get a little confused because their peer group gets swayed in a certain direction, and it may be like there's things that are popular in a peer group, like say um, Gen Z, for example, is very, very gifted, like with music and video and graphics, and so there's this sway at some level to do those kinds of things. But maybe that's not what you're here for at all. And if you're an older person, you may feel that you've already done everything you know, and you need to just stay home and rest and sort of drop out from the world. The world is too chaotic. The world is kind of moving too fast, or there's been too much change, and it's hard to kind of find your place again. You know, like technology is confusing, and there's no identifiable markers on the road of the world anymore, and you're just like, I'm just gonna stay home and relax. But you're needed especially too. So, okay, I want to think how to do this for the group. Okay, let's just close our eyes. And I want you to just think of the question, what in your life is the missing piece, or the thing that you know you're being called to, but you haven't been able to do it yet. And I want to look at what the issue is. And I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I feel like it's going to be, you're going to have one of the cards is going to be your answer. So what's holding you back? And 4, so this may be your answer, but we'll have 3 cards. So I'm just gonna, what's holding you back? Fortune. This is just how the world is. It's not in very good focus. There we go. How the world is, the ups and downs of life. It could be one reason. Or maybe your belief. Maybe your belief in that. Your belief that you can't do it. And here's another one. What's holding you back? Say 10 of Cups. This feeling of having too much or having enough. Maybe you feel like there's not enough room. Like you're already so busy. How could you possibly shift everything and do that? Interesting. I did not expect these answers. And one more. So you're going to find something here for you. And the last one is what's holding you back? Princess of Cups. I'm going to relate that to your emotional fear. Not wanting to deal with the emotions that come from going out on a limb and carrying what you want. So the first is your belief that the world won't have it, that the world is too up and down, and that you don't dare. I want to call, and this is how I'm reading these cards in my relationship to you guys, in my relationship to how I'm receiving the channeling. If you read tarot differently, great. This is how I do it. This idea of satiety, like we have so much going on. We feel too full or too busy, or like we couldn't take the risk of shifting from whatever we're doing into what we're really wanting to do. We can't give it up. Oh, that's where the focus is. We can't give it up. And then the last one is our emotional feelings of it's too scary, I'm afraid, it's on a limb, I'm gonna feel so much if I do this. So those are some ideas for you. And now let's just do some cards for, I want to make sure that for the world right now. I'm just shifting. I'm going to put these guys back in there too, because that's how I do it. And so like currently today, regardless of what day you're looking, what is the main vibe in the consciousness collective? Not what's going to happen, but what is the main feeling? Prince of Swords, pretty activated and cutting through the drama and cutting through the mental constructs. That's what's going on right now. And regardless of when you're looking, what do I need to understand about the current situation? And this is for you. What do you need to understand about the current situation in the world? Okay. Ace of Wands, just blazing forth with light and power. Alrighty. I think we'll end here. I would love for you to consider, if you're not contributing, if you're hiding out, I would love for you to reassess that and consider what your innate gifts are, the gifts you've known you've always had, the gifts that are easy for you, the things that you can do that other people can't necessarily do as well or as easily. And I would love to see if you could take that piece of the puzzle that you could supply and figure out a way to contribute that at some level to the collective situation, to help people live from suffering, to help more equality in the world, to help the calming and the cooler heads prevail in current political scenario, and just to assist with the ways that you can. Okay, everybody, you will find me at sarawiseman.com, and I will see you next time.